Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here. Apologies for the late, couple of minutes late start there. How are you guys all doing? Hope you guys are all doing well. Welcome to the watch along. We didn't do one last week because I wasn't feeling 100% great. To be fair, my voice is okay despite doing quite a bit of recording. You may notice as well before we get going, guys. There's a premiere video going to be dropping on Friday. It was originally a normal video, but because it went up to half an hour. I thought, you know what, I might make a premiere video out of it. So it's going to drop at around 7:30, something like that, on Friday for you guys. I might just lure in the chat for you guys on that video as well. So it's a very fascinating one from Byline. It's a long piece from Byline Times on Nigel Farage and the damage it's going to cause. I've just taken a locket because I bought some earlier today. I've got to refill my water bottles as well. And we're going to be covering quite a variety of topics, guys. So, all sorts, basically. A bit of Nigel Farage, a bit of Zach Polanski, a bit of Gaza, Palestine, and some stuff on the UN summit, guys, is what we're going to be covering just for reference there. Trip, good to see you there. I hope you are doing well. Person impersonator. Jao, one of our moderators there. Do check out his YouTube channel if you get a chance to do so. Mutty Von Eric, good to see you there. Hope you are doing well. Stephen Banker, good to see you there. Hope you are doing well. Pete's Music, I always love a bit of Pete's Music. Good to see you there. Hope you are doing well. What music are we jamming to with Pete? We'll have to let us know in the comments. Alistair Keir, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. One of our other moderators as well. Hope you are doing well. Doc Davis, good to see you there. Hope you are doing well. And thank you so much for that £2 super chat, Alistair. Very generous of you. Thank you. Hope you are doing well. Thank you for that super chat. It's very kind of you. James Connolly, good to see you there as well. Hope you are doing well, and anybody else who are lurking in the chats. Right. I wanted to start with this clip actually because I literally just caught this clip like 5-10 minutes before I came on, and I've already sent it to Max, so Max might make a video out of this as well. Where's my this one here I just caught literally here. So apparently Boris Johnson's going to be on Harry Cole, and he says that Reform UK are a threat to national security and brands Nigel Farage extremely dangerous on Russia, and says he has serious anxieties on their Ukraine stance.
I have confidence in the Conservatives, and I have confidence in the energy and combativeness of Kemi.
But the public don't seem to agree. The public don't seem to agree with you right now.
Let's see.
But Farage is quite an operator, though, isn't he?
I think. Well, you know, my concerns, as I say, and they're serious concerns, are about the approach to the economy of the Reform Party and the approach on national security. And I think both of those will be severely tested in the years ahead, and people will actually want serious answers.
So, I mean, let's be clear. First of all, this is Boris Johnson. This is the guy that delivered Brexit, had the deal, got it over the line. This is also, let's not forget, this is the guy that also partied while people died during the pandemic, allowed Conservatives to run amok under his government leadership. He undermined the Parliament several times, which set a precedent for future prime ministers to undermine its status as well. This guy caused serious damage and harm to the UK. This man did in the time that he was in power. And this is kind of the first time that I've heard him really be asked about Reform UK and Nigel Farage here. And he still, despite everything that's happened to this man, he still has his supporters. We know that the Conservatives would relish and would take him back in a heartbeat over Kemi Badenoch, because Boris Johnson has been a proven winner to them. But we know that Boris Johnson won off the back of Brexit. And people and there are people in the UK that do have short-term memories, but there's also a lot of people that lost loved ones during the pandemic as well, and they haven't forgotten what happened to them. And if he was to come back as an MP, become leader of the Conservative Party, it would shake politics up in the right, and it could be detrimental to Reform UK and Nigel Farage. Now, do I want that? No. I personally would rather have Boris Johnson disappear, finally get flushed down the toilet, because Boris Johnson is the turd that never flushes, is the word that I describe him, because of so much damage this man has caused. I've said in the past that this man should face prison for some of the things he's done, but unfortunately that's not how the world works. But he is right about Nigel Farage and Reform UK being a threat to national security and being extremely dangerous. And I think coming from him saying that will get into some people's heads, because there are still those Boris Johnson supporters out there, despite everything that this man has caused, the damage that this man has caused.
And I think that the answers are going to be Conservative answers.
So Farage is either a joke or a threat to national security, or both? Which one is it?
I think, as I say, I think there are two real priorities for us now. The number one is the economy, and making sure that we shrink the size of the state and public spending.
It's not a question I asked.
Yeah, you, like, the economy is a priority, and you wanting to cut taxes, and how does that go? How's that gone? You know, and we seem to be going down that path similarly with Labour, although they're trying not to make it public. How has that been going? That hasn't been worked. They've been cutting taxes since 2010. It doesn't work.
Is Nigel Farage a threat?
And the second,
you're saying it's a threat to national security.
The second is defence and national security, and the threat of Russia. And on both of those, I have very serious anxieties.
And Nigel Farage is a threat to national security.
I have serious anxieties. I'm putting it in Diplo speak, right?
I have serious anxieties. You're a former journalist. I want it as an intro, not diplomatic waffle.
I think look at what's happening in Moldova, right? Mm-hmm. Look at what's happening in Estonia, in Poland, even in Denmark today, right? And ask yourself, do you want the UK either to be led by Labour, who have a huge number of their grassroots who are still basically pro-Moscow, Corbyn?
Of course, Labour's base route pro-Moscow. Listen, Labour are a lot of things, but I don't think pro-Moscow is one of them, guys. I'm sorry, I just had to laugh at that one, pro-Moscow. I mean, yeah, you could say that about the Conservatives. We're talking about the Labour Party here. Oh, God. Oh, you know, even when he's an absolute twaddle, he says some of the stuff, he can say funny things. Good God almighty, guys.
Easter, right? Or do you want this reform gang who are on record as saying that NATO provoked Putin's aggression? I don't think that's I think what the world wants to save the West. What the world needs is UK leadership on this, and they need the UK to be strong and determined, and not to sound equivocal, morally equivocal about transparent evil like invading Ukraine.
It's a very interesting. It's interesting that give me a still picture. It's very interesting that on this from Boris, because he didn't bury Keir Starmer in particular there, because Keir Starmer's been quite, like, with the exception of Gaza and the situation in the Middle East. Apart from that, in all other foreign avenues, I think Keir Starmer's been pretty good. And him being on the international, and some of the, and obviously things on the international stage that he's saying there. Boris Johnson is absolutely right about the threat that's going to be happening, like this weekend, is going to be crucial for the country of Moldova. And I've said this yesterday, and I'll say this here, guys. That election that they're having, it is literally a case of, are they going pro-Russia or are they going pro-Europe? Like, that's how big that election is for the country. Like, they are literally, whatever happens, there's going to be chaos. You know, the country is already split, but it's going to be even more chaos after that election. I'm very concerned about what's going to happen after that election. I hope they don't go towards pro-Russia, but we'll have to wait and see. But obviously, we know there's a lot of bribery as well and all that. But Boris Johnson we know that Boris Johnson has connections to Russia because of his time in office. Even though that he has, on their public stance, has said that I support Ukraine and I've helped them and I helped them at the start of the war and I sent them toys and all these kind of things. What's his name? The guy he put in the House of Lords was a Russian former KGB agent. What's the guy's name? You guys can mention it in the chat. He can say all these things, but again, your credentials are shot to pieces. But there's still people that follow him, and I do think it's quite fascinating to finally hear Boris Johnson say things about Reform UK and say things about Nigel Farage. You know, especially coming on Harry Cole here and saying that. I thought it was worth sharing. I thought this was definitely worth sharing for sure. I'm not going to go out of my way when he puts out the full interview because, you know, it would listening to Harry Cole on the Sun would. There's a high chance, guys, but my intelligence may decrease as a consequence of that, and I'd like to keep my intelligence to a certain level if possible on that, guys. So I'm covering this in a video, but I need to. I am covering this in a video, but I need to cover this. I wanted to cover this with you guys here on Nigel Farage here, because we are going to continue the topic on Nigel Farage here. So, God bless Implausible Blog once again for his wonderful videos, and he does have a YouTube channel as well. Do subscribe to it if you have a chance as well. Give him some love, because he does go out of his way to make these clips, which are very, very good here. In 2024, Trump said immigrants are eating the dogs and cats. In 2025, Farage says immigrants are eating swans. This is not a joke. Nigel Farage was on LBC this morning with Nick Ferrari for an hour, taking calls in, dodging the tough questions, of course, and saying more bollocks.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
Swans were being eaten in royal parks in this country, that carp were being taken out of ponds and eaten in this country by people who come from cultures that have a different... Would you agree it's happening here? Neither of us can prove or disprove.
Who are taking the carp and the swans?
People who come from countries where that's quite acceptable to do.
Well, I've read headlines that it's Eastern Europeans, Romanians and people...
So, yeah. So, Nigel Farage is claiming that immigrants are eating swans, okay? He's saying that in the Royal Park, yeah? This was the Royal Park spokesperson, okay? We've not had any incidents reported to us of people killing or eating swans in London's 8 royal parks. Our wildlife officers work closely with the Swan Sanctuary to ensure the welfare of the swans across the park. This is officially from the royal parks, and actually there are stories that from them officially as well saying this. But yeah, so you've had Donald Trump saying they're eating the dogs and cats, the Haitians, migrants, and now you have Nigel Farage saying that the swans are being eaten in royal parks. Now, should I say this? I should say this because I don't want to bullshit you guys. Now, someone had a clip. I have not got the clip, and I decided not to add it to my bookmarks. But I saw a clip while I was gathering stuff for this live stream, guys. Someone had put up a clip. It didn't have many views, and it was of an RSPCA member of staff, allegedly. Now, I say allegedly because they had the badge on their shirt, on their polo shirt, and she was apparently in this house where allegedly they were immigrants, apparently, allegedly, cooking swans. I don't know how much realistic the context of it. Apparently, it's the clip was originally from Turning Point UK. So I'm taking so I don't know how realistic it is. I didn't want to add that clip because I don't know enough about it. Because it is only one clip and it didn't have that much attraction to it. But I don't that it's possible there may be some truth to it that immigrants are possibly eating swans, but it may not even be in the royal park. It may be somewhere completely else because we don't know the full context. What I should have done is got Grok to check it. That's what I should have done, but I didn't. But I might try and look it up later on maybe and get Grok to see if he can find out for me, because he's very good at tracking that stuff down, guys. Here he is, a bit more on it, guys.
Said I'd give you a month. It's 12 months. You think Haitian immigrants are eating cats
I'll
and dogs?
I'll have a tenner with you. That within the next month or so, we find some evidence of it.
If you can prove it, I've got my £10 ready.
Well, if you can prove it hasn't happened, that other way
But
around.
are you prepared now to say that one was utterly nonsensical?
If I said to you that swans were being eaten in royal parks in this country, that carp were being taken out of ponds and eaten in this country by people who come from cultures that have a different... Would you agree it's happening here?
I've certainly read... I didn't know about swans. I've read about carp being fished.
Well, there you
yes.
go.
I have heard about the carp stories. I have seen some carp stories around with regards to it. The swan one, I'm a bit more sceptical of, to be fair.
So, look, neither of us can prove
But
or
who
disprove
are
this.
taking the carp and the swans?
People who come from countries where that's quite...
The video I saw from it didn't look like artificial intelligence, Alison Keir, and I think you can. It's quite easy to distinct what are AI videos and real videos. It didn't look AI to me, but obviously I can't share the clip with you because I don't have it with me, respectfully.
acceptable
Well,
to
I've
do
read
so.
headlines that it's Eastern Europeans, Romanians, and people like that.
So I believe.
Is that what you've heard?
So I believe.
So it's a similar sort of story. They're eating
Similar story.
They're eating our carp. They're eating our swans.
But I'm not saying that. I'm just putting it back as an argument.
You're not saying that, but you've literally just put it out there. Like this is the thing. Like he puts out stories like this, makes accusations without evidence. Here, literally, just like he did about literally what he did about the cats and dogs here. And here's Nick Ferrari saying he betted a tenner. Like here we go. Like you owe me a tenner, and Nigel Farage is obviously going to flog it off. I mean, it's a joke here to Nick Ferrari anyway, but still. Why are LBC platforming him? Why are LBC platforming this guy? You know what? Do you know what somebody who should be on that 7 o'clock doing taking calls? Give Zach Polanski a go. Put Zach Polanski in the hot seat. Yeah. Why don't I put him in the hot seat? Yeah, for once. Yeah. Let's have someone on the left. Yeah. Instead of always having Farage there. That'd be a good one, wouldn't it? This one. I'm going to blow my gasket on this one, but let me just play it.
There are extreme ends of this that want us to become a country that follows their customs.
And where do you see that? Give me an example where that's been demonstrated recently. I'm assuming you're talking about...
I've met taxi drivers that have told me that. I've met taxi drivers that have told me, we will have Sharia law in Britain, you will live by our rules.
I don't know if this is going to come as a shock to anybody, up to and including Farage himself, but if a taxi driver says something, it doesn't automatically become true. Does that really need to be explained? Imagine sitting in class and telling a teacher something and being asked, where did you get that from? And saying, a taxi driver told me. Imagine sitting in court and being asked by a judge or a lawyer to account for what you've just claimed in the witness box or even the doc. And you said, oh, a taxi driver told me. And do you want to know something about that taxi driver? I bet you 50 quid he goes to a different school.
There are extreme ends.
A taxi driver told him. A taxi driver. Now, this is not a disrespect, and also this is discriminate. This is a discrimination, of course, to taxi drivers, because not all taxi drivers are nuts. Yeah, there may be one or two out there, but some of them may not even believe in this. But what? Like, I'm sorry, but a taxi driver, yes, they take people from A to B, but how the hell would they know about Sharia law in London? Or in Britain, or in London in particular, because that's where they are. Now, I have travelled in and out of London for a long time, for ages. As you guys know, I travel through London to travel up to my parents. Me and my partner, we travel into London to see wrestling shows or other stuff, all sorts of other things. I have worked in central London. I've worked in Kilburn. I've worked in Bayswater when I was younger. I have travelled through many different parts of London, both north, west, east and south east of London. And there are different cultures, different parts of London where some are not all white and there's some of mixed race. There's some of blacks or Asian or Jamaican or whatever. Like there's Chinatown. There's all sorts of different sides of London. It is an amazing multicultural capital city. Okay. Where the fuck is Sharia law? Like, where is it? Like, what is it? Where is it? Like, this is nothing more than fear-mongering. And what angers me the most is not just the fact that this fucking clown who doesn't know anything about London makes this claim, is that people jump on it in LBC calls and other places claiming that London is being taken by Sharia law when they've not even ever set foot in the fucking capital in the first place. Okay? Okay, you've not even set foot. Now, I don't go around accusing people in the north or Manchester or Liverpool or places that I've never set foot into and make accusations about their cities when I've never even set foot in them in myself. You know? But, like, seriously, if you're going to make these accusations, you better have some fucking evidence. And he has no evidence. And anyone who says this, who says there's some kind of Sharia law being implemented in or coming into London, this might shock them, but Sadiq Khan has been elected mayor of London not once, not twice, but 3 times. And here's the kicker for people who are mad about Sadiq Khan being mayor of London for 3 times in a row. Not once have I heard that there's been any election rigging whatsoever of Sadiq Khan. That means that all these people on the right who have problems with Sadiq Khan or claims of Sharia law or whatever, they believe that the election has been free and fair and that the people of London believe in Sadiq Khan. That is fundamental there. Person impersonator said, if I was a taxi driver driving Farage around, I'd say some outrageous stuff just to give him a cholera. I will leave it at Farage is simply vile, says Stephen Banker. Yep, that is true. He is definitely vile in a deed. Yeah, definitely. And we had those ones there, but yeah. Hey, Nigel just needs to sometimes you just need to, shut up. So I've got a couple of clips on Ed Davey as well from his conference there, and I thought some of these clips were pretty okay. He's got here a couple on Nigel Farage here, really going after Nigel Farage here. So I've got 3 different ones here, so we'll have a listen to these. And I still Ed Davey is saying all the right things. Is he getting the traction, though? That is the question. So this first one here from Implausible Blog, saying about, there's a question about Nigel Farage fond of asking of whose side you are on here.
There's a question Nigel Farage is fond of asking. He likes to ask, whose side are you on? Well, we know the answer. Nigel Farage is on the side of Elon Musk, Vladimir Putin, and Donald Trump. Liberal Democrats are on the side of the British people. Unlike Farage, I actually love Britain. I'm proud of our country. There's no doubt that a lot needs fixing. Crumbling hospitals and schools, anemic economic growth, the sewage in our rivers, crime and antisocial behavior, dangerous channel crossings, deep inequalities that limit opportunity for young people, a housing crisis, the nature crisis, the climate crisis, the prison crisis, the cost of living crisis. All the challenges we've been discussing and debating here this weekend. But we shouldn't lose sight of the many incredible strengths this uniting kingdom has going for it. The best farmers, car makers, and universities in the world. The place Hollywood comes to make Barbie, Spider-Man, and Mission Impossible. The land of the Lionesses and the home of Formula One, Windermere and Loch Ness, male voice choirs and Hogmanay, county shows and school fairs, fish and chips, village greens and cricket pavilions. And let me tell you, the best roller coasters and water slides on the planet.
I have to say, like, I know obviously for my friends in Scotland, obviously the goal is independence, of course, I have to say. But this is the kind of language you've just heard there from Ed Davey there. Bigging up the UK, bigging up the positives about the UK. I'd like you guys to ask me, when is the last time you heard a politician big up the UK in that way? Big up about the positives about the UK. Excuse me, for all the problems that we have, and we have a huge amount of them, as he just said there. When was the last time you heard a politician talk about how great the UK is? You know, about the positives. We don't hear it enough. And this is, if he continues to talk about how much he loves Britain and how proud he is, and he keeps talking about the positives and can talk about the positives as well as, and reminding that kind of stuff will resonate with people. Would be like, you know what? Yeah, we should be more proud of our proud of my country, or proud of my country, sort of thing. That kind of language there. That's definitely, we don't hear enough. Oh, you know what? I'll even go one step further. You know, how often do I hear Keir Starmer talking about all these positive things? You know, about the UK. He's always saying, you know, he's kind of bringing and drumming down. You know, it's rare, says impersonator. You know, this is something that we need to hear more of. You know, I would like to hear Zach Polanski saying this. I would like to hear Jeremy Corbyn and Zara for your party saying this. I would like to hear, I would like the Conservatives to say something positive about the UK, you know, in this way. I've got to give my hat off to Ed here, you know, because I thought this was very, very good here.
So much to celebrate about our country. But above all...
Yeah, well, obviously Scotland wants a different path from that, my friend. So I just want to put that caveat in there here. In this one here, he talks about Elon Musk. Elon Musk is an agent of chaos, inciting the far-right violence on our streets. And he's absolutely right here. He's absolutely right.
We all saw another agent of chaos last weekend. Elon Musk, inciting far-right violence on our streets.
James, you're absolutely right. I was literally mentioning this in other videos, actually. Not a word about the role in his post-gut office scandal. No, yeah, it's almost as if he intentionally didn't want to mention that. Nor his role in the Tory government he took part in. No, that is true. And this is one of the reasons why this is why I do not trust in any way, shape or form the Liberal Democrats. I can't trust them because they got into bed with the Conservatives. Nick Clegg got too big for his shoes. You know, he ran a great campaign in the run-up to the 2010 general election, and he saw an opportunity for power with him and his party, and he took it, and then he ended up sacrificing their own manifesto for the sake of power, and they ended up becoming scapegoats at the 2015 general election. And they only have themselves to blame for it. But it is 2025. It's been 10 years, over 10 years since then. Yes, you're absolutely right about the post office scandal, and that should not go away. I think one or two YouTubers have mentioned this as well, about perhaps the Lib Dems should look to a new leader. But at the moment, we'll have to see in due course, you know, how they do. Because I really do think that the Lib Dems only have the MPs they have was because of the general election. I don't believe it's the case of people voted Lib Dem because they liked their policies. I think it's people that just didn't want to vote Conservative at the time. I've generally believed that. I generally believe that. I don't know if enough people are convinced to vote for Liberal Democrats based on the leader and their policies yet. But time will tell on that on local elections.
Just like all those revolutionary leaders throughout history, bravely issuing his call to arms by video link.
Oh, sorry, goodness. Oh, Mad Monk, I didn't see you there. I hope you are doing well there. I think he's bigging up England as the Lioness is England. Lioness England. If he's being positive about the UK, he would not mention mostly English centrics. And one most very important thing that the UK is not a country. Yes, as mentioned very, very times. Yeah. That is a terrible force of habit that these politicians have, don't they? Absolutely agree. Good to see you there, Mad Monk. Hope you're doing well.
From an undisclosed location, thousands of miles away, conference, he's certainly no craven coward, is he? But we know why Elon Musk is so keen to meddle in our democracy, don't we? It's not because he cares about the British people. It's not about our rights and our freedoms. It's all about Musk's ego, his power, and his wealth. He rails against the Online Safety Act, but not because he cares about free speech. It's because Musk wants to run his social media platform without safeguards, without taking any responsibility for the terrible harm it is causing, especially to our children. After Musk took over and slashed the platform's child safety teams, X has become a much more dangerous place for children.
This is 100% true. A lot of people do not find find X safe, and I don't blame a lot of people who are watching are not on X. Blue Sky is a much safer platform. However, in terms of one thing X has that a lot of other platforms don't have, and I have to put this out there because I go on to X on a daily basis. I have to because of is that it is a very reliable source. No, I say very reliable. It's a very useful source of information. It's a very useful source of information to gain information about what's going on. For me, whether it's in politics or wrestling, I find it a very useful information, and it leads me when something breaks on there. It also is where a lot of news mainstream media, when they cover something or something happens on Twitter, it ends up becoming news on the news bulletins as well. That tends to happen as well, as I find on there as well. Von Erich says, I wrote a limerick about Clegg back then. There once was a politician named Nick who was a contemptible prick. When folks had all their vote, he turned out a turncoat and preyed on the needy and silk. I did not say that properly, but thank you for that, Von Erich. I screwed that up really badly. I'm so sorry. One Angry Pagan, good to see you there. I hope you are doing well. Guys, a reminder, myself and One Angry Pagan, tomorrow, do join us tomorrow night for another EcoFlakes show. We have much to talk about in what's happening in the environment and other global factors as well. So do join us for that. I always enjoy those, enjoy them. It's very, very fascinating stuff. And hopefully One Angry Pagan will make it on time this time around, my friend. And do check out his YouTube channel if you get a chance to as well, guys. Thank you, Mad Monk, for the £2 super chat to get me closer to the goal. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
The promotion of self-harm, of grooming, of sexual exploitation, all happening on Elon Musk's watch. No wonder he wants to get rid of the laws to tackle it. And Nigel Farage says we should give Musk what he wants. A Wild West on social media that only benefits Musk and his bank account while our children suffer. I say no. The UK must stand up to Elon Musk and properly enforce our laws so he can't get away with inflicting harm on our children, holding the powerful to account, no matter how powerful they are. It's what liberals are all about.
Again, this sounds good on paper, but if he was to get into power, if the Lib Dems were to get into power, it'd be a very different story. I'm still. Oh, don't worry, Pagan. I'm joking. It's fine. It happens. Honestly, you didn't need it. It's fine. We all fuck up, mate. So you don't need to say that. It's fine. It's fine, mate. Honestly, we all fuck up. So don't feel bad about it. We all fuck up in life, so don't feel bad. As for Elon Musk, I generally want to believe that Ed Davey and the Lib Dems are serious about this. I would like that the Labour Party were as serious about dealing with this. That the Labour Party were as serious about this as he is. But the main reason, and this is I hate to say this, guys, the main reason that Labour are not cracking down on this is not that they don't care. I do think they care. The problem is that if they were to crack down on Elon Musk and X, we would incur the wrath of the Orange Tangerine, and the Orange Tangerine could impose tariffs towards the UK. And I fucking hate that. The fault of being scared of Donald Trump, of doing something that would harm the UK economy when it is so fragile as it is. And that is why he's being allowed to gun-ho the way it is. And I hate it. I really, really do hate it, guys. My limit, but gladly give towards the goals. Thank you, Stephen Bank, for the £2 super chat. Honestly, I really appreciate your support and for this morning's super chat as well. Thank you for that. It's very, very kind of you. Thank you again, Alston Kier, for another £2 super chat. One more super chat towards the goal. So,
it's
one more here from this is I've got two more from here, where he really goes on the attack on Nigel Farage here. Really trying to pin the damage to the UK on Nigel Farage. Now, it may stick in the minds of some people, but but a lot of people will still point the finger at Boris Johnson and the Conservatives on this as well.
But of course, it's on immigration where he claims to offer the change people want. So, let's look at Farage's record on immigration. Who was it who campaigned to rip up 27 return agreements where in the EU, the United Kingdom could legally and fairly return people who had no right to be here? Yes, it was Boris and the Conservatives, but it was also Nigel Farage.
He's right, but the problem is it won't stick as well to Reform voters, because the argument that they will put up is they will say, well, he wasn't in government, he didn't sign the deal, he didn't make the Brexit deal, it was Boris Johnson, hence why Nigel Farage is using the term Boris wave. And the thing is that yes, he was a mastermind, one of the masterminds behind the Leave campaign. The problem is trying to get it to stick to people's minds that it was on him. It's kind of difficult when he wasn't even an MP. It's kind of hard to pin that on him. But I do appreciate the appreciate it from Ed trying to make this work.
He helped cause this crisis, and he should apologize.
Saying sorry is not in Nigel Farage's vocabulary, which we know. And this also applies to Kemi Badenoch, Robert Jenrick, and tons of Conservatives as well as Republicans. Hello, Billy.
And look at this hypocrite's big announcement on deportation last month. Look at what his plan really means. Sending men, women, and children who have fled the Taliban back to Afghanistan to be murdered by them, and even paying the Taliban to do it.
That's quite cold, and it's well said. Although he tried to roll back on it, that's essentially what Nigel Farage is saying. You know, regardless of how you feel about immigrants, you're talking about women and children being sent back to a country that could potentially get killed. And that's about as brutal as you get. And on top of that, paying out taxpayer money for it. Like, could you imagine that? Imagine telling the British public, you know, that, hey, Nigel Farage, the Prime Minister, is, do you think it's okay that your taxpayer money is being used to separate women and children from women and children and families, and sending them back to Taliban where they're getting their heads chopped off? Do you think that's do you approve of that? Yeah, I don't think that's I don't think that would sit well with a lot of Reform voters. So I think the way he's put it's quite strong there. I do like that.
That isn't patriotic. That isn't British. That isn't who we are. And that's why it's so frustrating, so infuriating that Farage gets such an easy ride from the media.
Thanks for popping in, Mad Monk, and thank you again for the super chat. You take care. Good to see you there.
As he lies, as he divides, the BBC and others give Farage so much time and attention, but they never hold him to account for all the damage he has already done. The damage of Brexit, Farage was Brexit's champion. The damage of Donald Trump, Farage campaigned for him. All the damage of Boris Johnson and Liz Truss, Farage backed them both.
Yeah, people forget that. He said that Liz Truss' budget was the best thing that ever happened. And what happened next? Yeah, people forget.
So much that is broken in our country today is broken thanks to Nigel Farage.
I mean, I appreciate trying to make this stick to Nigel Farage. And I really do appreciate the fact that he's really trying to stick things onto him. And but how much of this will deter Reform voters from still voting for Reform? I don't know if it's enough. But I do appreciate the fact that he's really going after Nigel Farage here. I mean, he's gone after. He did mention Keir Starmer, excuse me, and the Conservatives in his speech, but he was mainly attacking Nigel Farage, and you need to go after him, because you can't allow this guy to continuously get away with what he's saying. I like this speech here. Some of you guys may have seen this from other YouTubers, this one.
Or Farage has changed. Change away from the country we love. Change towards Trump's America. Just imagine if you can bear it. Imagine living in the Trump-inspired country Farage wants us to become, where there's no NHS. So patients are hit with crippling insurance bills or denied healthcare altogether. That is Trump's America. Don't let it become Farage's Britain.
He's absolutely right. Nigel Farage wants to destroy the NHS, and the best way for him to destroy the NHS is to get people to hate and turn on the NHS, to cripple it into such a point where the people will stop loving it. What they're going to do for Nigel Farage and Reform UK, they will deny that they will take away the NHS, but when they get into power, what they're going to do is they're going to cripple the NHS to a point where they will say they have no choice but to turn to a private health based system. That is the ultimate goal. That is what they will do. And they will try to turn public opinion about the NHS against them. That is what their plan is.
Farage's Britain, where we would pay Putin for expensive fossil fuels and destroy our beautiful countryside with fracking while climate change rages on. That is Trump's America. Don't let it become Farage's Britain.
He's absolutely right. Again, We know that Nigel Farage and Reform UK Richard Tice have spoken about the benefits of fracking, when we know, and it's been tested, that it has caused earthquakes in parts of England where it has been tested, and it would cause earthquakes in the UK. I'm sorry, I don't want earthquakes here. Like, it's bad enough in the countries where they are. I don't want it. Like, I just don't want it. So, and of course, you know, the talk about fossil fuels and energy and all that kind of stuff, you know, people think that's going to reduce their bills. Like, I understand the criticism of Labour right now because our bills are still going up, absolutely. But they it's not gonna make our energy any better. Yeah, and we're going backwards as well.
Where gun laws are rolled back. So schools have to teach our children what to do in case of a mass shooting. Trump's America, don't let it become Farage's Britain.
And he's not joking. It's absolutely not a joke. Nigel Farage wants to roll back gun laws in the UK. How fucking insane is that? What possible person in the UK, apart from the rich and wealthy, think rolling back gun laws is a good idea? I don't think anyone in the UK thinks that. Now, luckily for us, we don't have the right to bear arms sort of thing. So this can easily, I do think, yeah, we can challenge this and stop this happening. But my God, this guy off his fucking nut when he said he wants to ease gun laws. That's absolutely diabolical.
Where social media barons are free to poison young minds with impunity, Trump's America, don't let it become Farage's Britain.
We've said that already. We talked about that already.
Where the government tramples on our basic rights and freedoms unconstrained by the European Convention on Human Rights. Where Andrew Tate is held up as an example to young men. Where racism and misogyny get the tacit support of people in power. Where everything is in a constant state of chaos. That is Trump's America. Don't let it become Farage's Britain.
He's absolutely right. Again, like, Nigel Farage wants to take away... I've said this about what we've seen a lot in Trump's America is they have been going after media outlets and medias that could potentially be problematic to them. We've seen that the likes of NBC and other outlets have changed their tone and their positions on Donald Trump by the fact that they know that a lot of things that Donald Trump has said and does has been BS. But they are so intimidated and so scared of Donald Trump's power that they've been subdued. I can see Nigel Farage doing the same thing here in the UK. The likes, I've said this before though, that the likes of the Daily Mail, of GB News, Talk TV, right-wing YouTube influencers will get exclusive access to Prime Minister Nigel Farage. And the likes of Sky News, the BBC, Channel 4 in particular, you're going to see them cast aside. You're going to start seeing them not being allowed to talk to the media as much as they want, to the Reform government as much as they want to. You're going to see them getting pushed back. You're going to see their questions being dismissed or them not being allowed to be a question. You're going to start seeing them. You could start seeing them getting discriminated as well, saying they're saying bad things about our government. You can definitely see that. Like, it's not impossible for that to happen. That Sky News and BBC are not perfect, and of course my friends in Scotland will vouch for that because of the way they cover BBC in Scotland. Obviously, it's been absolutely atrocious. My friends in Scotland can speak volumes of that. But there will be no impartiality on news if Nigel Farage comes in. It will be 24/7 pushing reform narratives over and over and over and over and over again. They will dominate the mainstream media more than they are doing now. They will overflow social media, And that is going to be a big problem, and people will be consistently brainwashed over and over again. Is what you're going to get. Chris C, good to see you there. I hope you're doing well. Farage was on LBC this morning. Once again, Nick Ferrari was soft on him. Yeah, we covered a few clips from it, Chris. You missed. We did cover a couple of clips on there as well. I'm fed up with the BBC consistently giving Farage a platform at the moment. Literally, Ed Davey was just saying that as well. Yeah, 100% agreement.
Instead of the real change Liberal Democrats have always championed, the change our country desperately needs, Farage is picking off groups of people one by one.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got a mental health problem, Farage says you're probably making it up.
He's actually said that.
Even as suicides have risen to a 25-year high. If your child is disabled or has special needs, Farage says it's been wrongly diagnosed. Even as parents struggle against the crisis in SEND.
Yeah. Pretty horrible stuff. Here for 8 minutes, says Ellie. Yeah. Thank you for being here. Hey Farage, leave our NHS alone. Sell the rest of it till gone with the wall tune Pink Floyd in my head. Oh, he will take it. He will take the NHS away from us. He wants us paying out of pocket for it. Just this one clip before I go to some other ones on Ed Davey, because I just want to remind people that this is also why you shouldn't trust Ed Davey as well.
But there's also a case on welfare expenditure where we've got to reduce that too. One of the things that the Conservatives did so badly, they got rid of face-to-face assessments for personal independence payments. And when they did that, they did it initially for the right reasons, because it was during the pandemic, but they kept it on afterwards. And what's happened since then, a massive increase in the number of people claiming PIP. And there's a real suggestion in those numbers, by the way the Conservatives manage the system, that there's quite a lot of fraud there. And surely everyone can agree we should go after the fraud to make sure the people who need the benefits, the people who are really disabled, can still get them.
So that would mean cuts in welfare?
Well, it would mean stopping fraud, yeah.
So essentially he wants to cut the welfare system, this guy. Now, I don't know how true the fraud claims are. I'm personally not buying that there is a huge amount of fraud in the welfare system. Not me personally. Some people may disagree, but I don't think there's a huge amount of fraud. Do I think there's fraud in the welfare system? Absolutely. Do I think there's a massive amount? I don't agree. I don't agree with that. But I do think, yeah, obviously, one of the things I've said about the welfare system is that when it comes to people's mental health or whatever disabilities or setbacks that they have health-wise, there should always be a doctor consulting in between both the person claiming the benefits and the person on the job centre or the person at DWP, because the problem is obviously they don't use a health expert to diagnose the person, which is a big problem, particularly in obviously England here. How dare Nigel Farage said those with mental health are making it up. I struggle with PTSD after traumatic childhood. I've never received any support, and I have to fight for what I get now. I'm so sorry you went through that, Chris. My condolences. I generally mean that. I've spoken about my mental health issues whenever we've done mental health live streams here on this channel as well. Do join us for one. We only do them every couple of months, to be fair, but hopefully you can join us on the next one when we talk about this kind of talk about mental health and whatnot. For Nigel Farage, obviously has no understanding of what it's like, because he's a rich bastard that doesn't understand ordinary people, but he's just very good at manipulating them. Is what he is there, guys. Which one do I go with next? So I got a couple of other random clips I'm going to switch with. We covered that one already. The first families have arrived in the UK through the new legal routes. So I think it's the one in, one out system. So you know, some was sent out. There's been some that have been taken in. So I just wanted to share this, and I'm just going to give my thoughts on this, guys, and feel free to add yours on this as well.
Breaking news from the Home Office, and they say a family of 3, including a small child, are the first to have arrived in the UK through a new legal route under the UK's migration treaty with France. It follows the removal of the first 4 migrants from the UK to France, and the Home Office is saying this: the UK-France deal is an historic agreement, and these are critical first steps. This is a clear message to people smuggling gangs that illegal entry into the UK will not be tolerated. We will continue to detain and remove those who arrive by small boat. We will work with France to operate a legal route for an equal number of eligible migrants to come to the UK, subject to security checks. So a family of 3, including a small child, have arrived in the UK under that scheme.
So obviously that's the legal route, that the agreement that has been made between the UK and France. But the problem is that even though it's a legal thing, it doesn't change the fact that there are still people getting on the small boats and still crossing over. This doesn't, obviously, the system that they did, that the agreement that they have, does nothing to stop migrants getting on the boat and crossing over. I've said this before and I've said this again. Nothing that Farage is going to do is going to stop more small migrants crossing the boat, unless he goes to war with France, which he's not going to do, because that's just absolutely stupid. This system is a complete waste of taxpayer money. It's a complete waste of time. It's not going to change anything whatsoever. I've always said this. Zoe Gardner, the immigration expert, has said this countless times on many interviews, on TV, on YouTube channels, and she's got her own YouTube channel as well, by the way. If you guys are interested in following Zoe Gardner, as well, I do recommend subscribing to her channel as well. And whenever she puts up clips of her talking to the media, like, we have to have safe and legal routes here, and it's obviously good that people have arrived here via a legal route, but the problem is that there are thousands and thousands and thousands of migrants sitting in Calais who still want to come to the UK, and there's no legal way for them to come. So until we resolve this issue, this boat crossing is never going to go away. And by the way, it's also important to point out that they still try to get through the Eurostar tunnel as well, and they also still try to get into trucks to cross over as well. So those things are still happening as well there. Dame, again, it's good to see you, buddy. Hope you are doing well. Yep, as Chris C said, yeah, safe and legal routes to stop the asylum seekers to apply before they travel to the UK. Yep, absolutely. Yeah. Until we have safe and legal routes, nothing's going to change. 2 out of 3, and so Dave McGuinness. Yep, it's a working system according to the government, apparently. Dear, I know. I just want to share this clip here from Sadiq Khan this morning. You know, I like the fact that he's on a public buster in this, but he was responding to comments that President Trump made at the UN about him. So let's hear what the London mayor had to say. 3-time elected mayor. I just want to stick in there as well, guys.
What it is about this Muslim mayor who leads a liberal, multicultural, progressive, successful city that means I appear to be living rent-free inside Donald Trump's head.
Are those comments Islamophobic?
Listen, when people say things, when people act in a certain way, when people behave in a certain way, you've got to believe them.
So you're saying he is Islamophobic?
I think President Trump has shown he is racist, he is sexist, he is misogynistic, and he's Islamophobic.
And he called you a terrible mayor as well. Are you a terrible mayor?
What kind of interviewer would ask such a stupid question on a man that has been elected 3 times as London mayor, considering the fact that, and I also appreciate the fact that Sadiq Khan has never changed his stance on Donald Trump ever since he got first elected as president of the United States. Sadiq Khan has never changed his position, although he did slightly change his tone a little bit when he got elected. But overall, he's not going to be someone that's going to bow down to the pressures of Donald Trump. And I appreciate him basically calling Donald Trump exactly what he is, because not enough people are doing it these days. Too many people are scared of Donald Trump here.
Well, listen, I'm just...
Thanks for popping in, James. Much appreciate it.
Thankful that we have record numbers of Americans coming to London. Since records began, there's only been a period where more Americans have come to London. There must be a reason for that. You look at a number of different criteria. We're often the number one city in the globe when it comes to culture, when it comes to foreign direct investment, when it comes to sports, when it comes to the ability for people to fulfill their potential. I'm really proud that we are the greatest city in the world. Long may that continue.
And does it concern you that number 10 and the Prime Minister seem to be spending a lot of time befriending Donald Trump? Does that concern you?
Well, I've seen the benefits of Americans coming to London. I've seen the benefits of people recognizing what a great city we are. It's for others to explain their views on President Trump.
But you say
I like the fact that he keeps using the term that Americans coming to London, Americans are coming to London, as if to say, you know, all those good, hard-working Americans that Donald Trump has scared away, they've come to the great city of London to show their skills and showcasing. I like that, you know, that sticking the knife into Donald Trump a little bit to say there. I do like that little thing there. I wonder if Starmer spat out of his coffee as Khan stated the truth about Trump. Probably, it's like, I'm not surprised. Probably from Keir.
Say he's a racist.
Keir Starmer can't do it because even though he should do it, he should call him for what he is. The problem is Keir Starmer is afraid of Trump and is afraid of the tariffs and the wrath that he can occur on the UK economy, which I hate it, but that's the reason why he's doing it.
Perhaps the Prime Minister shouldn't be befriending him quite as strongly.
But one of the things about having a special relationship, it's akin to having a best friend. I think when you have a best friend, you should expect more from them. It's very different to an acquaintance or somebody who's just, a distant friend. I think one of the advantages of having a special relationship with the USA is obviously when it comes to trade, when it comes to military alliances, when it comes to other areas where we work close together. But it should also mean you've got the confidence to call them out when they're wrong. I think President Trump is wrong in many, many ways.
The truth is, I would love Keir Starmer to do that, but the problem is that the Orange Tangerine would break up a lot of things if you were to go just full throttle against him. He's not afraid to really gun after enemies, and the problem is a lot of world leaders are afraid of him. They're afraid of standing up to Donald Trump because they're afraid of the repercussions if they talk smack too much about him. More people should do it. Keir Starmer should do it. The problem is that I think if our economy wasn't as fragile, I think perhaps maybe if our economy wasn't fragile, perhaps if the UK as a whole wasn't in the state that it's in, maybe Keir Starmer might have a bit of a spine, and that's a big fat maybe, a big maybe. But you know, I really do appreciate what Sadiq Khan has done for London Mayor. I don't know if he's going to run for a fourth term. The thing is, I don't know who's going to replace him. And my worry is that if Sadiq Khan doesn't run again, we could end up having a reform mayor of London, and that absolutely terrifies me. Now, like I say, I don't live directly in central London. I live on the outskirts, but I'm still inside the M25. But the thought of a reform mayor really does terrify me. Like, I was worried about some of the Conservative candidates. The thought of a reform mayor being mayor of London, that's very concerning indeed. I think it would be very, very bad for London if that was to happen. What's the? Is there any other pieces here that I haven't covered here? Oh, this is a very good one I wanted to share as well, actually. So Barry Gardner criticises Keir Starmer's cabinet reshuffle, saying ministers moving around need to learn their briefs from the start, i.e. that a year is lost. This is a great point when ministers do cabinet reshuffles, even if it's fundamentally, even if you have disagreements about certain cabinet people in certain positions here. And I think Barry makes a very valid point on this. But I generally want to hear your thoughts on this as well.
Unfortunately, the reshuffle has actually meant that you've taken secretaries of state, take DEFRA, for example. Steve Reed, the Cunliffe report's just come out. He's got a white paper supposedly coming out next month, and in January they're supposed to be publishing the bill, right? Gone. And we now bring in somebody who has no background. Steve Reed, give him his credit, he had worked incredibly hard to understand the water industry and to get on top of the issues there, which we're all concerned about. And now somebody else has come in with no background in it that's going to have to learn that brief from zero. So this reshuffle is not about advancing policy. It's actually, in some cases, obstructing that policy.
Okay.
I think he's absolutely right. Now, I think that the Labour government should be going more when it comes to dealing with the water companies, for example. And I've spoken on my channel in the past about how I feel about Steve Reed. But he has been looking into this and he's been the secretary in that position for a long time. And now all of a sudden he's been shifted and you've got someone else in that role because of the cabinet reshuffle. Same with the Home Secretary, obviously Yvette Cooper got shafted there as well. Sometimes, doing these cabinet reshuffles may seem like you're shaking things up to make it look like you're saying to the public, look guys, we're changing seats, so we're getting new people in, we're going to make a big difference. And then you find out it hasn't made a difference at all. Sometimes it makes things worse rather than makes things better, and I think Barry's got a fair point on that there. But I think it was worth sharing that one with you guys there. How have we already gone more than an hour, guys? That's insane. That's not right. We should not have gone more than an hour. Unfortunately, that is the situation that we are in. Should I cover these ones? I will leave Zach Polanski clips for now. Let's have a listen to some. From the UN guys. If I have time, we'll listen to some Zach Polanski clips here. Labour MPs need to apply pressure to Starmer to sack Morgan McSweeney. Yep, there's just one problem with that. Rupert Murdoch will be up in fucking arms if they did it. He's a stooge. He's McSweeney is a stooge to Rupert Murdoch, so he can keep tabs on the Labour government. If you get rid of Morgan McSweeney, Rupert Murdoch will want another stooge in its place. That's the sad reality truth of what's happened with that Labour government. Don't like it, don't agree with it, and he should go because he is the main culprit. But there's a reason why Morgan McSweeney and Rupert Murdoch were sitting next to each other at the when they were having the banquet when Donald Trump had his state visit recently as well. Just wanted to put that in there. So let's have a look at some of the news that's been happening in the UN, the UN General Assembly here. So Finnish Foreign Minister was speaking to BBC News here, basically saying President Trump said the nations who recognise Palestine are rewarding terrorism. And Finland is committing to the two-state solution and will recognise the state of Palestine at some point, that they say. So there's a lot of countries, obviously, the UK, France, Canada. I think Portugal, correct me, I don't know if, I'm assuming Joe's still in the chat because I can't see him right now. I'm assuming Portugal are planning to recognise the Palestinian state. Japan says they want, it's not a matter of whether they will or not. It's not a matter of if it's just when. Japan says, I've said in numerous times, we've seen them mention it on Central News Asia on their website because they've mentioned it that Japan plans to recognise them as well. More than 100 countries have already said that they recognise a Palestine state. But again, it's all well and good saying we recognise Palestine. Oh, thank you for that, Joe. Yeah, so they have recognised Palestine state. It's all well and good saying that, but again, it's not changing the situation where children are still dying of starvation. Bombs are still being dropped. Gaza City is being under siege right now. Food, medical and aid supplies are still being cut off inside Gaza. There's still annexation taking place in the West Bank. Much more is at much faster pace than it was then. Now it was after what happened on October the 7th as well. So yeah, One Pagan says, actually, the replacement for Steve Reeve at the death row was already a minister under him in that department. Gardeners, except he is a poor one, says One Pagan. Thank you for that clarification. Appreciate it. There.
President Trump saying the nations who had recognized the state of Palestine here were contributing to the conflict and rewarding terror.
Well, which is bollocks, and I think we all know that.
Finland has not recognized the state of Palestine as part of the special summit yesterday and all of these proceedings. Is there an intention to do so?
Finland is fully committed to the two-state solution and will recognize the state of Palestine at some point. And most definitely that will not be a reward like the UK's action was not a reward for Hamas. It was on the very contrary, I would say. It is an action to reward a peaceful future for the Middle East and give a chance to the Palestinians to really take on responsibility and live in freedom whilst respecting the security of Israel at the same time as well.
Yeah, she's absolutely right. I totally understand that point, but every country's position is going to be a little bit different in some parts there. Richard Gowan, the UN director, here talking to Channel 4 News about Trump attacking Europe. This does show that it's not worth sucking up to Donald Trump here. Let's listen to what he has to say here.
Wild ride. Donald Trump always gives quite meandering speeches. He likes throwing out sound bites. But this was Trump to the power of 10.
And he particularly attacked Europe. Given how European leaders have behaved, does this show it's not worth sucking up to Donald Trump?
I think we have seen time and again that European leaders think they have got Donald Trump sort of a little closer to them, and then he always pushes them back. And that's what we saw today.
But these were words. So the question now is what actions will follow. And if Donald Trump is as serious as he sounds, who will fight back against him?
No one. Because the world is afraid of him. Well, I would say maybe China's probably not. But yeah, there's too many countries who are scared of him. That's the reality here.
Global.
Here's the Orange Tangerine saying global warming is not happening. Climate change is the greatest con job perpetrated on the world, in my opinion. Yeah, because your tiny little brain, your tiny little pea brain says this.
Global warming, not happening. You know, it used to be global cooling. If you look back years ago in the 1920s and the 1930s, they said global cooling will kill the world. We have to do something. Then they said global warming will kill the world, but then it started getting cooler, so now they could just call it climate change, because that way they can't miss. It's climate change.
You know, it's such a shame that Donald Trump this is a man that does not listen to experts. He doesn't listen to in life. Yeah, as you have to sometimes listen to people that you might not necessarily always agree with. You're always going to have people in life and in the world where, you know, not everyone's going to agree with your opinions. You're not always going to be right. And unfortunately, Donald Trump has been born with the biggest fucking silver spoon in his mouth, more than any other person. And because he's been ravaged up, become president of the United States not once but twice, he thinks he knows everything. He thinks he's all powerful. And he says, and the thing is that what's even more infuriating, he's saying this in front of world leaders. And they know this guy's a clown. They know this guy's a joke. But at the same time, this man can hurt them as well, which is why it's a bit different to his first term, where people would just mock him and poke fun of him. This time, they're not, because they've seen the damage and the harm that he's caused to his own population, never mind to what he's doing with tariffs to others.
Because if it goes higher or lower, whatever the hell happens, this climate change, it's the greatest con job ever perpetrated on the world, in my opinion.
Yeah, and your opinion is fucking bollocks. And we know that it's happening because we are seeing rising temperatures. We're seeing it all over the world. We're seeing more earthquakes. We're seeing more floods. We're seeing more typhoons. We're seeing more hurricanes. We've seen more tornadoes. And you had the fucking audacity to cut your own weather services in the US, so that Americans could actually potentially die because they might not always get the response that they need from weather services in certain parts of America where there are tornadoes.
Climate change, no matter what happens, you're involved in that. No more global warming, no more global cooling. All of these predictions made by the United Nations and many others, often for bad reasons, were wrong.
No, that's how much are the oil and gas companies paying you again, Mr. Trump?
They were made by stupid people that have cost their countries fortunes and given those same countries no chance for success. If you don't get away from this green scam, your country is going to fail.
Okay, sure. Okay, sure, Donny. And make sure you take your medicine tonight as well. You make sure you take your medicine and don't forget your bottle as well before you go to bed. I wanted to touch on this story here, guys, just outside the UN. This story here that's happened in America. Another shooting has taken place. I don't know too much about this, but I just wanted to touch on this with you guys while we're covering various different things here. So there was a shooting in Dallas at an immigration office. 2 people sadly lost their lives. Others were injured. I don't know the full context of the story here, but I want to make it clear what on this that my condolences goes to those who lost their lives and those who may have suffered horrible injuries. Violence has no place in any politics. I said that what happened to Charlie Kirk should never have happened, and obviously I said at the time my condolences obviously to Charlie Kirk's friends and families despite his political views, and unfortunately, and Ted Cruz here is saying, obviously he's saying here political opponents are not Nazis. The problem is that it's very hard to not make that claim when you're doing the kind of things that fascists did back in the 1930s and 40s. But anyways, let's just hear him out here on this story.
This has very real consequences. Look, in America, we disagree. That's fine. That's the democratic process. But your political opponents are not Nazis. We need to learn to work together without demonizing each other, without attacking each other. And I want to say thank you.
The problem is that they consistently attack the Democrats and the left here, which is the problem. You know, they continuously do that. You know, they painted the left and responsible for Charlie Kirk when there is none of that whatsoever.
Say thank you to the brave men and women of law enforcement. I want to say thank you to the brave men and women of ICE and CBP and everyone who puts their lives on the line to keep us safe.
And I agree, with the exception of ICE people.
The divisive rhetoric tragically has real consequences.
Yeah, it's a shame. You know, I wish you would tell your dear president about it as well, but I don't see you saying anything about him.
I hope that every one of us will pray, number one, for the safety of law enforcement that are risking their lives to keep us safe.
Yes, I do, with the exception of ICE officers because of what they do.
Number two, for the health of those who were shot and injured today. We still don't know the full details of who was injured, but for the families also of the victims of this shooting. Violence has no place. It is wrong. And we should come together. If we want to have a debate about immigration policies, we can do so in the halls of Congress without demonizing each other, and especially without demonizing the men and women who every day put on a badge and go risk their lives to keep us safe.
Yeah, well, that doesn't count for ICE because ICE don't put on badges, they put on masks and hide their identity when they separate families and take children away from their mums and dads and given no explanation whatsoever, kidnapping families in the middle of the night to take them to detention centers to never be seen again.
And we should not be putting language out there that inspires madmen to commit evil crimes. Our prayers are with the men and women of law enforcement.
Yep, but of course he won't say anything about his own party. You know, it says overall, they'll say nothing about his own party. The only tiny credit that Ted Cruz has, and I've got to give a tiny bit of credit to Ted Cruz, He did advocate for the return of Jimmy Kimmel. He did advocate for his return. That's the only slight tiny bit of credit I'll give him for. That's the only thing. But apart from that, he's still an arsehole. He went on holiday when there was a crisis in Texas, when they had when they had crisis in Texas. You know, he's not always there for them, but they're still going to be dumb enough to vote for him, unfortunately. I think this speech, I wish I had. If I had the whole speech, guys, I would get the whole speech, but I don't. The Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky slammed the United Nations and other international institutions as being too weak to stop the wars in Gaza, Sudan, Syria, and Ukraine during the speech at the UN General Assembly. It's high time that it's all well and good with the Donald Trump saying it. We need more leaders to say, hey, UN, you're too fucking spineless. Do something about what's happening in the world. There are far too many conflicts taking place. More needs to be done. We need real leaders. And here is Zelensky just calling it out for what it is.
The 21st century isn't much different from the past. If a nation wants peace, it still has to work on weapons. It's sick. But that's the reality. Not international law, not cooperation. Weapons decide who survives. Excellencies, you know perfectly well international law doesn't work fully unless you have powerful friends who are truly willing to stand up for it. Even during bloodshed, there isn't a single international institution that can truly stop it. That's how weak these institutions have become. What can Sudan or Somalia or Palestine or any other people living through war really expect from the UN or the global system?
This is one I've been screaming about whenever I've not just talked about the places that he's talked about. What about Myanmar? That's still been erupted in the civil war, guys. That's been going on for, how long has that been going on for? About 2 years? Maybe longer? What's that? What the Judah military, who have done horrible things to its own population. Where's been the accountability of Myanmar? None. And they had a massive earthquake earlier this year, and everybody was like, "Oh, we need to get aid and whatnot, yeah, to the people there because of what's happened." Never mind the fact that that during that earthquake, they dropped bombs on people. The Judah military, who control the majority of the country, they dropped bombs on innocent people during that period. What's been done about them? Nothing. And I've talked about Haiti, and a country that is one of the most fucked up countries. And I have to say that because they have gone through shit after shit after shit after shit because they are so embedded in so much corruption. That country has got some of the most, I really do mean this, it's got some such bad fucking luck. Because of where they are geography-wise, they suffer from tsunamis, they suffer from earthquakes, they have suffered terribly, the people of Haiti. And they wonder why Haitians end up going to America or go to the other side of the island, to the Dominion Republic, because of not just on top of the weather that the weather causes that they deal with, because of where they are from the tectonic plates, which is what causes them to sometimes get earthquakes, but the corruption is so embedded, it's insane in the government. Absolutely fucking insane. And they don't, and then you have over 80 to 90% of the fucking capital of Haiti controlled by armed gangs, and they cannot get a grip on it. And the UN, whenever they voted, I think it was last year, they had a vote on whether to send UN peacekeepers to help deal with the gangs so that they can get some sustainability and control in Haiti. Do you want to know what happened? Russia and China vetoed it. And the US won't put their only soldiers on the ground. And the problems are still concurring. You have kids in Haiti carrying AK-47s on behalf of the gangs. You have women who are being abused, horribly abused, by the gangs in Haiti.
For decades, just statements and statements. And even everything happening in Gaza remains without a way out. Even now, Syria, after all the changes, still has to appeal to the world to ease the sanctions that are choking its economy.
Now, I understand that nations are not too coy to open up everything to Syria. But my God, like, give the country a fucking break. They have been under a dictatorship for a long time. Lift the goddamn sanctions. I get the concerns about Syria, but give them a chance to run stability. Give them some goddamn stability. Like, put conditions on removing the sanctions, and if they break those conditions, then you can reapply the sanctions. But give them a way out. Now, obviously, I'm talking at this time, well, I believe for the first time in like 50 years, you're going to have the Syrian president is going to be speaking at the UN today, or he's probably speaking right now. I really do hope, I know I've said this many times, yes, Syria still has its problems, but I really do hope that this government that it has really does bring peace and stability. At the moment, for those who weren't watching the Good Morning show, they've been looking to negotiate with Israel to try and get some solidarity there, because obviously the two countries have been in conflict as well. I really do hope that something gets sorted there. I just want to say to thank you so much, Wanning Pagan, for the £2 super chat. Number one message with Myanmar because of China. Yeah, China. Just quickly on Myanmar before we go back to this, obviously, China, obviously, their main priority is having access to the Indian Ocean through Myanmar. That's their priority. And they want control of Myanmar, and they will take control of whoever is beneficial to them, whatever benefits them. Whether it's to do the military or whether it's rebel groups or factions, they just want to be able to have access to the Indian Ocean through their country.
It has to ask and wait. Syria deserves stronger support from the international community. And as Russia's war against my country goes on, people are still dying every week.
Yeah, people are still continuously dying in Ukraine because of the war in Russia, the Russia's war in Ukraine, and we discussed that yesterday as well. It's a lot, guys. It's a lot. I unfortunately don't have a funny video for you guys. We've gone about an hour and a half. This is around the time I wrap things up here. I'm not sure if there's any other stories is there worth covering. I'm going to leave the Zach Polanski ones here. I'm just going to see. So let me share. That was yesterday. Where is this one? Yeah. I'm going to share this last one before we head out here. So this is from Kieran Adrew, who is on one of the boats sailing towards Gaza. This was 5 hours ago from them. Saying, we are still sailing 37 boats currently heading to Gaza, soon to be joined by 6 more from Greece. Organisers currently believe only one boat was too badly damaged by the explosions last night to continue. So it's going to be nighttime by the time we hear this. But like I said, over the next few days, we're going to find out what's going to happen, because that's a lot of boats, and it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. I really do pray that they get through, and I really mean this sincerely. I hope nobody gets shot, no the boats get destroyed, blown up or whatever, and no harm comes to them. But I can see Israel doing it, and no action being taken against them as well. Here are all the boats. Obviously, you see there's quite a few of them out there. all sailing to Gaza. So I mean this sincerely. We wish them all safe travels over the next day or two, because it will not be long before they enter that before they enter close to Gaza waters, and obviously what happens then, who knows? But they're going to sink a boat. It's obvious. Let's hope not. Trip. Let's hope not. Do I have something? I don't have. Unfortunately, guys, I did try to find. I ran out of time to grab a funny video, guys. So I do apologize. So I don't really have a funny or good video, unfortunately, to end on here. But I want to say, guys, because we've been over an hour and a half. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who's come tonight. Thank you to everyone who left super chats today as well. That's been really, really appreciated. Especially considering I've not had. I know some people have been struggling. Some people have struggled financially to support me. So today, obviously, this live stream has been really, really helpful to me, because you guys help keep me going. You help keep the channel going for those who do that, and I really do appreciate it. I know not everyone can be a YouTube member. I know not everyone can give super chats, because obviously people need to look after their own finances and they have their own things, and that's totally understandable. And I always say this, guys, that if you can't financially support, the best thing to do is hitting that like button, sharing this across social media, subscribing, sharing, leaving comments on my videos. All that kind of stuff is the best way you can support this channel. And I do apologize for not doing Patreon and Rumble videos for you guys for this week. I'm hoping my voice will clear up next week. So until then, I won't be doing additional videos. I'm just going to prioritize the YouTube channel, and obviously all my short videos, as you guys know, gets put on other platforms as well. There. As for the plans for the rest of the week, like I said, I've got tomorrow at 11 a.m. will be another Good Morning show with me. But before that, obviously, do drop in on the two Davies. David McGuinness will be doing another show, Paper Around, at 10:30. So do join him for that. Then after his show, you can come and join me for the Good Morning show for an hour between 11 and 12. And then later, it's Thursday, of course. So I believe the two Davies will be going live at 4 o'clock later on that day as well. So if you should join them for that, it'd be greatly appreciated. And 8 o'clock tomorrow evening, myself and One Angry Pagan will be with the Eco Flake show. So do join us for that, and I do recommend checking it out. It can be very insightful stuff, guys. Different from the usual politics that we normally cover, covering the environment, climate, all that kind of green stuff, guys. And I think it's really, really good stuff to talk about as well. And I feel like I learn every time more from that. And just a final thing before we go. Next week, Thursday, myself and Witchy Goth will be doing a live stream together as well, and I'm very excited to check that out. So if you don't know Witchy Goth, do check out her YouTube channel. She does some really, really nice stuff there. So again, thank you guys so much for coming. Again, like, share, subscribe, all that usual stuff. Enjoy the rest of the evening, what you guys are doing. And again, thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.